Welcome to memoQ Talks, where we talk to industry leaders about their experiences, lessons learned, and what works best across all areas of localization. Now here's your host.
Hello everyone, welcome to this newest episode of memoQ Talks. My guest today is Diego Cresceri. I hope I got your name.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. So he's the founder and CEO of Creative Words, a language services company based in Genoa, Italy.
Exactly.
Also a former president and current board member of the European Language Industry Association, or ELIA in short. And we also sit together on the Language Industry Expert Group that is next to the Director General of Translation of the European Commission. And I hope you don't mind if I don't list each and every one of your accomplishments, because it would take like at the end of the week, whatever, I don't know.
It's a lot of things.
It's a lot of things, yes. But we will have time to discuss some of these later.
Absolutely.
To make the confusion complete, we are sitting in Milan at the Istituto Universitario di Lingue e Media, or IULM in short, which we'll also explain in a few minutes while we are sitting in Milan. But before we get into this, please like the video if you do, and subscribe to memoQ Talks. You can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more podcasting applications. So when I'm preparing for a conversation, I always look at what my guest says about themselves on LinkedIn, and because I'm picky about my guests, I'm always very impressed by what I see there, and this time is no exception, of course. I think I can safely say that Diego is one of the best known representatives of the language industry, not just in Europe, but globally. So let's just jump right in the middle. Creative Words. Tell me about the name and how it connects to the mission of the company, to what you do. Because I can tell that those come from a place of passion.
They do, absolutely. When I had to found this new company, because I used to work in another LSP before, I struggled to find a name. I knew back then that I did want something that was more on the creative side and less on the translation side.
Right.
So I choose not to have anything related to translation into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to have someone that could have sort of a lab into it as well, which I didn't manage because the domain back then was too expensive. Otherwise, I would have chosen something else. But Creative Words represents really what we tend to do in our company. So not just translation. We do want to be more on the creative side and on the cultural aspect of language. Yeah. Which didn't happen. Because when I started, my biggest project that came in was technical translation and machine translation post-editing. So I had to put everything into the technical side, the less fun part of the industry. And this is where we do this technological shift as well. Now we have repositioned recently with a new brand, a new slogan, I would say.
Okay.
That is where languages meet innovation.
Yes.
So it's where language meets innovation.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where the industry is going, and that really represents best what we are trying to do. Like putting together technology and language to deliver new value to our customers.
Well, if we are being honest, and language, at least from the beginning of the 20th century, is not even the 21st century, is in a way or another, the way we were dealing with language was going in the way of innovation.
It was.
So one of the first computer applications were envisaged to be machine translation. So the idea of machine translation comes from the early 50s.
Absolutely, but you wouldn't believe how many companies are now struggling to move away from the concept of translation.
I know.
Just because they have translation in their name,
But this is what I keep pointing out, that this doesn't come from a place of tradition, because tradition is innovation.
Yeah.
Tradition is being intertwined with technology.
Absolutely, I agree.
So what I can absolutely hear, and this is also something I read about you, that you were definitely not satisfied with running just another LSP. This is what you just told us. But you also say, and you also explain that you're a technology enthusiast. So you didn't just move towards technology because you had to, because it was first you described it as an unfun part of the translation, but it's no longer the unfun part. So you became an enthusiast, and you are also passionate about education. So, I also read that Creative Words is also active in the development, application, and consultancy about AI. So, what is this? How does it come together? And how is it working out for you?
So we started quite recently in 2023 when ChatGPT was launched. I soon knew that we needed a shift. So we integrated AI and technology even more in our processes. And then last year, I saw really a need with small and medium businesses in Italy. There's a huge need to upskill their employees and to also change their mindset into implementing automations. This is not something that small and medium businesses do a lot in Italy yet, unfortunately. But for me, it's a good opportunity to turn and offer a new service, which is training and consultancy. So, and the other thing is that I'm creating this network of freelance trainers as well.
Okay.
Which has two objectives. One is to be able to offer training and consultancy on scale, because otherwise I will have my people working on that and not doing translation project management, for instance. And the other thing is that more and more freelancers are struggling with lower volumes recently. So, and they are in the best position to be able to consult the customers on implementing generative AI, because they are the ones that can really use the language in the right way to be able to be, for instance, better prompt engineers, to be able to replicate what we do in our companies and apply that to their processes. So
I feel
it's also a way to help them with skill, because there's a need for them to be skilled as well.
Yeah, and because they are in the unique position and being pretty much the only ones who can judge the quality that is spit out by the machine. Yeah, but machine translation or language model. So.
Yeah, but they don't do that only in our industry. The thing is that they offer training consultancy to other industries as well.
Yeah. So let me just say something that might sound controversial at first, but I feel it to be very true. Translation and language services in general are some of the most common but least understood services in today's business landscape.
Absolutely.
And actually, this morning I spoke to someone who is an exception, because she's somebody who probably understands at the buyer side, understands it best, but that is an exception. And because of that, discussions about this often include how language companies or associations should try and educate customers or clients, but it doesn't happen all too often, because conversations stop here and people have a hard time figuring out how this kind of education should happen. But Creative Words happen to be one of those rare companies that make an organized effort at educating clients and the general public about language services. So tell us about the organized effort in the CW ELAB. That this is another one where I feel a lot of passion, and I think that is good for our entire profession.
Yeah, thank you. That's the CW Lab is my baby. Basically, when I started this big project that I was mentioning before, I had no structure. I had no big freelance database. And it was a project where I needed to work with many newbies in the industry, with students also, even. And so I needed a quick way to upskill them and to be able to get the services that I need. I was pretty tired of having to answer the same questions over and over again, like, how should I use this tool, or how can I do my invoicing? So I decided to put everything on video and offer these free trainings for freelance translators. It became very big. It was a collaborative effort with other professionals in the industry. It's something that we curated, but I invited other speakers as well from outside. And with COVID, it was launched, I believe, in February 2020. With COVID, we had 2,000 students in a matter of a few months, because everybody was home and had a lot of time.
At that time.
And then it grew, and we offered the English version as well, with different videos and different speakers. And then last year, in 2023, we created the first course on a global scale on AI for linguists. And that also had a great success. So we always try to to train particularly the linguists, so that part of the supply chain. But then what happened is that also like professionals on the buyer side, they started to take our course, particularly the new one on AI. And it's becoming a very well curated container of information about the industry.
And it's completely public, right? So one can sign up. So
public and free.
Why don't we include a link to the CWE lab in the description of this video? So
thank you.
We'll definitely need to do that. I think our audience already got the idea that you are not in the profession to just run your company and make money, right?
Definitely.
You are continuously giving back at a level that I find hard to grasp, let alone duplicate. So, I mean, yeah, you have been volunteering in ELIA, one of Europe's most renowned language services associations, for many a long year. And this seems to be a good place to tell our audience what ELIA is and how you view its role and contribution in today's language industry.
Yeah, I first met ELIA in Prague in 2017. It was my first ELIA event. It was one for project management. And I fell in love with the association. I was sitting with the former president back then,
right,
Françoise. And she asked me, why don't you become a member? And I did. And then in the first occasion, I decided to run for the board and I got elected. And that was 2018.
Congratulations.
Thank you. For my first try. And I'm there since then. So it's been almost 8 years. To this year, actually, I will need to step back because it's already 3 mandates.
Oh, it is? Yeah, okay.
But
so you can serve 3 terms, right?
Yeah, 3 terms. And we had a longer one because of COVID also. So
right,
many years.
Right.
So I need to stand back. But it was a great occasion. What does ELIA do first? It's an association of language service company in Europe. We have members also on the other side of the world, across the pond, as they say, in the US, in South America, and even in Asia. And we have around 200 members, and we basically help our members, which is made mostly smaller to medium companies. So we don't have the huge ones. And we organize 4 events, one for executives, one for project managers, one is more a networking event. And the other one, the one which is coming next in February in Barcelona, is about like LSPs meeting freelancers and try not to have this continuous fight between companies and linguists. And this is where I really saw all of it, like 360-degree knowledge of the industry, from the executives to the freelancers, and networking, of course, was a big part. So I'm really happy that I had this opportunity. I think it's a great association, and we really try to help our members like grow. And the latest thing we are creating is an AI committee, because again, AI is here to stay, and we want to make it easy for our members to upskill their team members, for instance. So we launched that very recently.
Oh, this is great to hear. This is why I didn't know about it. So by the time this episode is released, it will be probably too late to register for ELIA Together. ELIA Together is the name of the conference that brings language services companies and freelancers together. But we will include links for you to check out all of ELIA's events and be able to register. Because I have to say that now I attend these less regularly that I would prefer to, but I used to be a very regular participant, sometimes even a speaker at these events, and these belong to some of my favorite events. So I can't wait to get back to one of these. So there will be definitely links. There are definitely links in the description of this video where you can check it out and register for the next ones and the next ones and the next ones. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
But if we are talking about associations, I spotted this in your resume, Canadian Language Industry Association. Oh, yeah. What is that, and what is your role in it?
So basically, the Canadian Language Industry Association is what ELIA is for Europe. So it's an association of service companies in Canada. Why am I there? Because I was invited to be there.
Okay.
So I'm not in the board, I'm in the advisory board. So I represent the European side of the language industry for them. So I'm trying to build this bridge between these two worlds that might have some, differences. So I sit in the advisory board. Basically, we meet once a year, and we like share our knowledge of the situation of the industry here in Europe, and we meet and we decide on the strategy. We consult them on the strategy of the association. I'm also there because I was invited to, and I've never been to Canada.
Oh,
So my hope is, if you listen, I do want to travel to Canada. So invite me and I'll join you as well.
yeah. Funny. I actually, not me, but my company owns another company in Canada, and I've never been to. So
But I know you.
I am planning to go there, but at the time we are recording this, I have never been to Canada. But let's get back to Europe. Let's say that. Because like I mentioned in the introduction, we sit together in this LIND, or Language Industry Expert Group, helping out the translation body of the European Commission. How do you see that? How do you see the role of the LIND group, and what do you think is most important in its work? How can or how should the LIND Expert Group evolve to help both the European Commission and the European language industry more efficiently? If there's anything you can think of, but I'm sure you can. So
LIND is a great initiative,
Yep.
and pretty new to me as well, because I joined it last year, and I'm there representing ELIA, so
Yep.
this is the reason why I'm there. And it's a group of experts, as you said. They're doing a great job. They're doing so many things that the whole language industry really doesn't know. I used to think of the Commission as someone sitting, in their golden seats out of the industry, but they are really breaking their backs on helping, for instance, the industry to be more visible. For instance, they have initiatives to bring students to translation courses.
right.
That's one. They have this European network Master of Translation universities, where they select universities based on how good their program is, but most of all, how aligned the program is with the industry needs, for instance. So, and this is something that we were requested to help on in the LIND group. So they organize the Translating Europe workshops. They're really doing a lot of stuff too for the language industry altogether. And the LIND group, again, is the connection, I would say, with the real work.
Yeah, I would say that.
Language
Yes.
industry, where with translation companies, sometimes within the Commission, there are a lot of things to do, and they cannot really observe what is happening on the market. And I believe my role is that one of representing also the needs or the situation of the language service providers.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm also started off in representing Gala. To some extent, I still do, but it's not a very structured group. It's rather put together based on excellence and reputation.
Yeah.
And I think it came together very well.
It's a great group. Absolutely.
That's something I can absolutely say. The LIND group is also instrumental in putting together the program for the the Commission's annual translation conference to the Translating Europe Forum, taking place in Brussels every November.
Yeah. And again, that event is something that I didn't know anything about before I joined ELIA, and before I was put in touch with the LIND group. And this is to say that we need, if I go back to your previous question, we need to be able to represent better each other's interests. We need to be able to communicate what the Commission is doing towards the industry. And I see this is improving. And on the other way, we need to be able to let the Commission know what we are striving on and what we need basically from them. And I think it's a great connection to have, and a great cooperation we can even foster,
Absolutely,
better.
Absolutely. I fully agree. Please make sure that we also include a link to the Translating Europe Forum website in the description. Make sure to check out that, and also check out the episode that we released with Christos Elenides, who is the Director General of the of the Directorate General of Translation of the European Commission. A bit long. This name is a bit long. But he perfectly explained in that interview what this group is and how it is keeping Europe together, and the whole thing is described from his perspective, from the European Commission's perspective, which is also at least as interesting. So
he's a great visionary, I would say as well.
Yeah. Here's something that. No, actually, yes, I will later ask something that is not in the script. I'm not being very, but for now, I want to ask about LangOpts Institute that you recently joined as Director of Language Services. I think the audience should be quite welcome to learn about three things. What is LangOpts? What is the LangOpts Institute, and what is the Director of Language Services within the LangOpts Institute? Can you say a few words about this?
Yeah. So LangOpts is again something new to me, pretty new. Last year I was invited in Berlin to this LangOpts pioneer event, and I went just because I was invited. I had no idea what it was.
Okay.
I think it really represents where our industry should be going. So a better integration of language into companies' operations. This is what it is. So having language move a little bit left on the chain, and I would dare say having more perceived value, at least, that it has now. So translation is now really the last part, the final afterthought that you think about after you've thought about everything else. I believe we deserve a little more dignity as well. So moving language to the left on the chain through LangOpts can help us giving back this dignity to language. So it's a framework, it's a way of doing things that has to do with integrating with the customer's operations, and the Institute is the company that is just born and that is going to help companies, including language service providers, and this is my role.
Okay, so language services means LangOpts for language service companies, basically. Okay,
exactly. I might need to update the name, I guess.
It's a bit ambiguous, but it's not bad because you get asked about it and then you get the chance to explain it.
Yeah, good one. So in my role with the LangOpts Institute, I will be in touch with LSPs with their transformation journey towards a more LangOps approach to language. This is what I'll be doing.
Right.
By the time you see this video, we will have launched officially. It's happening.
Okay, because I read about this in public sources. So this was the reason why I dared to bring it up. But yeah, so watch out for this. I wish you every success in your.
I mean, there's a need for companies
absolutely
to get a new vision on how they can add value and how they can give language value more than they can now.
So you mentioned dignity, but I would say that, yes, the language services, translation, localization, it obviously needs more dignity, but the first and foremost, it needs to be recognized for the value it really provides.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for, actually.
We don't like language services being undervalued as they are in current production workflows.
Yeah. This is the idea. Absolutely.
So I can wholeheartedly support this. So here's something that wasn't in the script, but it's connected to something very pleasant. So you are the heart and soul of the LocLunch in Milan. So I've been twice your guest here, and it was a very enjoyable experience both times. So, and you also say that you are you think. You believe in outreach and you are trying to keep the translation communities together. So what is LocLunch and how does it work and how is it working out here? So what are the vibes of the community here in Milan?
So LocLunch, I was, I think, the third one in the world starting the LocLunch, because I was at a conference in Barcelona with ELIA, and someone mentioned this new initiative. And since it was new, it sounded interesting. I said, yes, I'm going to be next one. So I started that.
So it was new, so you had to jump.
Absolutely. I've been the first on many different things. And so I started that right away in Milan. And I started building a nice community. And we are now more than 250. by community, I mean people that have come at least once to the LocLunch.
Right.
We've been having international guests. You are the one of those.
Thank you.
So LocLunch is basically a networking event where you sit together and discuss everything that you want to discuss with great food, since we are in Italy, and you talk about different topics. And there's no organization other than that, just booking the restaurant. So it's,
right.
Of course, you pay as you go for what you drink and eat, and you talk about. And it's a great networking opportunity, which is free, which puts you together maybe with a buyer, with a freelancer, and you discuss very freely about localization topics. It's not a sales event. You don't get there with your business card trying to find a new customer, because that's not how it works, but it works in the end.
Yes, and it's
because you build connections.
It's even less controlled and structured than an unconference.
Absolutely.
Because you don't need to collect topics, you discuss whatever you want. And that actually is encouraging. So some people need that to be able to start discussing things.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's one of the, I found customers, I found friends, I found
yes,
different corporations, and I put together people, and this is something that is really exciting.
And I thank you for including me in that.
Well, thank you for coming.
So finally, if I asked all the questions that popped in my mind, even I came up with one that wasn't in the script, I could come up with like 20 more, but we don't want to sit here till the end of the week. I have to catch my flight tomorrow home. But what I always try to ask at the end of these interviews is what are you learning right now? Because everybody I talk to is passionate about learning, about improving themselves, and these are we are haunted by ideas that keep us up at night in the good sense of the word. So what is it that keeps you up at night? What is it that you are trying to learn? What is your aspiration to become next?
So it's 3 questions.
Yeah, so I could turn it into 5.
So keeping up at night right now is probably trying to implement the vision that I have in mind for my company,
right?
Which is moving in that direction that I was mentioning. And I believe I'm not the only one that needs to transform their own companies or adapt to what is happening. So I do want to know where we are heading to help other language service providers do that as well. That's what's keeping me up at night. I believe there are, in this particular period, many language service providers are striving to have a vision. So I do want to help them with that. What I'm learning? Everything related to this, from technology to change management. I mean, I'm studying many different things to implement this vision. So different things. And the last one was the aspiration.
Aspiration. What do you want to become next?
Oh, I don't know what I want to become next. I want to become better at what I'm doing, probably. So I do want to have a company that is solid, to be able to have more people joining the company, and do want our industry to be solid as well. Because I have many friends and many connections in the industry, and I want to keep them. And it's a great industry to be in. So I believe it's all part of the same dream of transforming to be solid and stay safe and offer a safe place to our people as well, also for the freelancers.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do this. Hopefully it will work. No, I think.
Well, listen, if people on a mission in a positive way are enthusiastic enough about it and put their heads together and try to make that happen, then it will happen. That's what I think. At the very end, thank you, Diego, for taking your time to sit with me. Just a few last words about why we are here, because I promised to explain that at the beginning.
I was going to ask you.
Thank you. But one of the reasons we are sitting in Milan is that because Diego's company might be based in Genoa, but he lives close to Milan, right? Yep. But the other reason why we are sitting here at the ELIA University, which is the southern part of Milan city, is because ELIA, Creative Words and memoQ are working together on an education initiative that we cannot say a lot about yet, but by the time this video is out, you will probably be able to see some public information of what is
absolutely
here. So here's to our continued cooperation. And with that, I'd like to thank you again. for taking your time to sit with me. And I'd like to thank our audience for watching or listening. And do not forget to like and subscribe. And see you in the next episode. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining memoQ Talks, where we talked with industry leaders about their experiences and lessons learned to gain new insights about what works best across all areas of localization. Join us next time on memoQ Talks.